I am optimistic. I'm generally a very optimistic person.
This morning, Prince William sharing some rare personal insights with Eugene Levy.
Yeah, I think stuff to do with family overwhelms me quite a bit. You know, worry or stress around family side of things, that does overwhelm me quite a bit.
The palace doors rarely open to reveal what truly happens behind them. But today, something slipped through those carefully guarded walls that nobody was prepared for. A statement arrived without warning, carrying words that would send shockwaves through every home in Britain and far beyond. Prince William, the steady presence we've relied upon, the face of the monarchy's future, finds himself at the center of news that's left millions searching for answers.
As my heir, William now assumes the Scottish titles which have meant so much to me. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades.
This isn't gossip or speculation. This is real, confirmed, and deeply troubling. What exactly has emerged from Kensington Palace? Why are people gathering outside with flowers and tears? Stay with us as we walk through what happened, how the nation is reacting, and what might come next in this unfolding story. The announcement that stopped a nation. Nobody expected Monday to unfold the way it did. The morning started like any other, with people moving through their routines, unaware that within hours everything would feel different. Then the palace released their statement. Short, formal, yet unmistakably heavy with emotion. They confirmed that Prince William was facing an exceptionally difficult and deeply personal situation. They asked for understanding, for space, for the kind of compassion that families need when life becomes overwhelming. The wording was careful, chosen with the precision that royal communications always demand, but you could sense the pain behind every sentence. News travels fast in the digital age, but this moved at a speed that caught even seasoned journalists off guard. Within minutes, every major outlet had broken into regular programming. Anchors appeared on screen, looking genuinely shaken, struggling to maintain professional distance from a story that felt intensely human. Headlines flashed across phone screens, each notification bringing the news to someone new, creating a cascade of shock that rippled outward from London to every corner of the globe. The words devastating and heartbreaking appeared again and again, inadequate attempts to capture what people were feeling. Television cameras turned toward Buckingham Palace, capturing the gray London sky hanging low over the iconic building. That image became the visual shorthand for the nation's mood. Overcast, heavy, waiting. Reporters stood outside the gates, speaking in hushed tones, aware that this wasn't a moment for the usual energy that accompanies breaking news. This required something different. Respect, restraint, recognition that behind the story were real people experiencing real pain. Inside the palace walls, sources described an atmosphere thick with concern. Staff members who had worked there for decades, who had seen the family through countless challenges, said this felt different. There was a quietness to the day, a sense that everyone understood they were witnessing something significant. Meetings were held behind closed doors, discussions about how to manage the situation while protecting the family's privacy. The prince himself was surrounded by those closest to him, choosing to focus on what truly mattered rather than the storm of public attention swirling outside. The decision to release a public statement hadn't been made lightly.
I am deeply grateful for the addresses of condolence by the House of Lords and the House of Commons, which so touchingly encompass.
There had been lengthy conversations among senior advisors, weighing the need for transparency against the desire for privacy. William had always believed in being honest with the public, in not hiding behind the palace walls when things got difficult. That belief apparently influenced the choice to confirm the situation rather than let speculation run wild. It was a calculated risk, trading privacy for control over the narrative, hoping that by acknowledging the difficulty, they might earn the space needed to deal with it. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media platforms became flooded with messages of support, with William's name shooting to the top of trending topics worldwide. People from every background, every age group, every walk of life seemed compelled to express something. Many shared their own stories of facing difficult times, drawing parallels between their struggles and what the prince might be experiencing. Others simply offered prayers or positive thoughts, wanting to contribute something even if they didn't know the specifics of the situation. What was striking about the reaction was its genuine quality. The usual cynicism that often accompanies royal news was largely absent. Instead, there was a collective recognition of shared humanity. Comment sections, normally battlegrounds of opposing opinions, filled with unified expressions of concern. People weren't arguing about the monarchy's relevance or debating royal privilege. They were responding as humans to another human's pain, setting aside the usual divisions that define public discourse. Outside the palace gates, crowds began gathering within hours of the announcement. They came carrying flowers, mostly simple bouquets picked up from nearby shops or pulled from their own gardens. Some brought handwritten notes, personal messages expressing support and love. Others simply stood in silence, feeling the need to be physically present, to show solidarity in the most tangible way they could. By evening, the area had transformed into an impromptu memorial of sorts, though nobody had died. It was a memorial for the image of stability that had been shaken, a physical manifestation of collective concern. The demographic mix of the crowd was remarkable. Elderly couples who remembered watching William as a child stood alongside teenagers who'd grown up seeing him as a modern royal. Parents brought their children, explaining in age-appropriate terms that sometimes even princes face hard times. Foreign tourists who happened to be visiting found themselves swept up in the moment, adding their flowers to the growing pile, even though they weren't British and didn't fully understand the depth of the nation's connection to this family. Political figures quickly issued statements of support. The Prime Minister spoke of the nation's thoughts being with the prince and his family. Opposition leaders echoed similar sentiments, setting aside the usual partisan differences to express unity in this moment. Religious leaders across different faiths offered prayers and support. The Archbishop of Canterbury issued a heartfelt message, speaking of the importance of community during difficult times. It became a moment of interfaith unity, everyone recognizing that compassion has no denominational boundaries. The burden behind the crown. Being born into the royal family comes with advantages that most people will never experience, but it also comes with burdens that most people couldn't imagine bearing. Prince William has never known a private life. His first breath was news. His first steps were photographed. His childhood grief became a public spectacle when he walked behind his mother's coffin, the image of that small boy broadcast to billions. Every relationship he's had has been scrutinized. Every choice he's made has been analyzed. Every expression on his face has been interpreted and reinterpreted by commentators who've never met him. The pressure to perform, to always be on display, to never show weakness or vulnerability, creates a kind of weight that builds up over years. William has spoken about this before, about the difficulty of living in a glass box where everyone can see in, but he can rarely see out clearly. He's talked about the challenge of raising children in that environment, wanting to give them normal experiences while knowing that their lives will never truly be normal. He's discussed the toll that constant scrutiny takes, the way it makes even simple decisions feel complicated. Recent years have piled additional responsibilities onto his shoulders.
I think royal duty is extremely important. I think it's part of the fabric of what the royal family and any future monarch has, and it's something that is very important, and I take duty very seriously.
The death of Queen Elizabeth meant stepping into new roles, taking on more duties, representing the crown at more events. His father's rise to king shifted the family dynamics, placing William one step closer to the throne and all that entails. He's been managing the delicate balance of supporting his father while maintaining his own identity and vision for what the monarchy could become. It's a position that requires constant diplomacy, endless patience, and the ability to think generations ahead while dealing with immediate pressures. Behind the public appearances and formal events, there's been a growing sense of exhaustion that those close to him have noticed. He looked tired at engagements, his smile sometimes not quite reaching his eyes. He's canceled appearances more frequently, something that doesn't happen without good reason given the planning that goes into royal schedules. At the time, these were explained as minor scheduling adjustments or family commitments. Looking back now, they appear to have been warning signs, visible cracks in a structure that was bearing more weight than it could sustain indefinitely. Kate has been essential in helping him manage these pressures. While he fulfills his public duties, she's worked to create a home environment that feels as normal as possible under the circumstances. She's the one making school runs, organizing birthday parties, ensuring that George, Charlotte, and Louis have experiences beyond palace walls. She's built relationships with other parents at their children's school, maintained friendships outside royal circles, created a network of normalcy in an otherwise extraordinary existence. Her ability to ground him, to remind him of what matters most, has been crucial to his ability to function under such intense pressure. The couple has made conscious choices about how to raise their children, decisions that sometimes go against royal tradition. They've been more hands-on as parents than previous generations, more involved in daily routines, more protective of their children's privacy. These choices reflect their values, but also add to the complexity of their lives. Every decision becomes a negotiation between what they want as parents and what's expected as royals. Every attempt at normalcy requires careful planning and security considerations. What this moment has done, perhaps more powerfully than anything else, is remind everyone that the royals are people first and symbols second. The titles, the ceremonies, the grandeur of the palaces can create distance, can make them seem almost fictional, like characters in a story rather than humans with feelings and struggles. But news like this tears down that distance instantly. It forces a recognition that behind the crown and the carefully crafted public image, there are individuals dealing with the same kinds of challenges that affect families everywhere. William has always seemed aware of this perception gap and has worked to bridge it. His charity work has focused on issues that affect ordinary people: homelessness, mental health, environmental conservation. He's visited hospitals and schools, disaster sites and community centers, always trying to connect genuinely with the people he meets. He's shared stories from his own life, talked about his struggles after his mother's death, discussed the anxiety of being a new parent. These weren't calculated PR moves. They were attempts to be authentic, to show that despite the circumstances of his birth, he experiences many of the same emotions and challenges that everyone does. The work he's done around mental health specifically has taken on new meaning in light of recent events. He's been part of campaigns encouraging people to talk about their struggles, to seek help when they need it, to not suffer in silence because of shame or stigma. He's spoken about his own therapy, about processing grief, about the importance of checking in on loved ones. Those messages resonated with people because they came across as genuine, as someone speaking from experience rather than reading from a script. Now, as he faces his own difficult moment, those earlier conversations create a foundation of trust. The monarchy has weathered countless storms throughout its long history. Wars, scandals, political upheavals, personal tragedies have all tested the institution's resilience. Each generation has faced challenges that seemed existential at the time, moments when the future of the crown seemed uncertain. Yet it has endured, adapted, evolved to meet changing circumstances while maintaining core traditions. This latest challenge fits into that larger pattern, though it feels uniquely personal and immediate to those experiencing it now. Diana's death remains a defining trauma for the family, particularly for William.
That Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident, and that her partner, Dodi Fayed, has also been killed. They were apparently being pursued by paparazzi on 2 motorcycles.
The image of that young boy walking behind his mother's coffin is seared into global consciousness. It's impossible to think about William's life without that moment hovering in the background, shaping everything that came after. He's spoken about how losing his mother at such a young age affected him, the grief that doesn't disappear but rather becomes something you learn to carry. That experience gave him perspective on suffering, on loss, on the importance of mental health support. It also left scars that don't fully heal, wounds that can be reopened by new difficulties. What the future holds. The immediate question on everyone's mind is what happens next. Will William step back from public duties temporarily? Will the family retreat from view for a while to deal with things privately? How long will this situation affect their lives and the functioning of the monarchy? These are questions without clear answers at the moment, because the situation itself is still unfolding. Decisions are being made day by day, based on what the family needs and what circumstances require. There's been discussion among advisors about reducing William's schedule, giving him more time to focus on family and personal well-being. The calendar of royal engagements is typically planned months in advance, but there's recognition that flexibility might be necessary now. Some appearances might be postponed, some duties might be delegated to other family members, some commitments might need to be canceled entirely. The palace is trying to find the right balance between maintaining institutional continuity and allowing for human needs. King Charles faces a delicate situation as both father and monarch. He wants to support his son personally, while also ensuring that the institution continues functioning. This means potentially taking on additional engagements himself, asking other family members to step up, and managing public expectations about what the royal family can deliver during this period. It's a test of the monarchy's ability to adapt to unexpected circumstances, to show that it can be both stable and flexible when needed. The public response will likely evolve as time passes and more information emerges or doesn't emerge. Right now, there's a wave of support and sympathy that's remarkably unified. Public opinion can shift, and patience can wear thin if situations drag on without resolution or explanation. The palace is aware of this dynamic and is trying to manage it carefully, providing enough updates to show that they're being transparent without oversharing or creating additional problems. For William personally, this represents a potential turning point. He's always been thoughtful about his role, about how to modernize the monarchy while respecting its traditions, about how to be authentic while meeting institutional expectations. This challenge, whatever its specific nature, will shape his approach going forward. It may lead to changes in how he balances public and private life, in what causes he prioritizes, in how he thinks about the crown he'll eventually wear. Kate's role will continue to be crucial, not just as a support to her husband, but as a public figure herself. She's built her own identity within the royal family, carved out areas of focus that matter to her, earned respect for her commitment and grace.
She is one of the most recognizable women in the world. A fashion icon, a champion of charitable causes, and a princess, the wife and mother of future kings.
If William does step back temporarily, she may need to maintain more public visibility, to represent the family at events, to show continuity. That's additional pressure at a time when she's also dealing with the personal impact of whatever is affecting her husband. The children are undoubtedly affected by what's happening, even if their parents are working hard to shield them from the full weight of it. George, as the future heir, carries his own unique position and pressure. Charlotte and Louis, while lower in the line of succession, are still growing up in extraordinary circumstances. How William and Kate navigate this difficult time while parenting will influence how their children learn to handle pressure and difficulty in their own lives. This moment has revealed something profound about the relationship between the British public and their royal family. Despite all the debates about the monarchy's relevance, despite criticism and calls for reform, despite the distance that privilege creates, there remains a genuine connection between the people and these particular individuals. William represents something beyond just his official role. He represents continuity with the past through his mother's legacy, hope for the future through his children, and a bridge between old and new in his approach to his duties. The flowers piling up outside palace gates, the messages flooding social media, the quiet conversations happening in homes across the country, all of these speak to a shared humanity that transcends institutional structures. People aren't responding to the Prince of Wales as an abstract concept. They're responding to William as a person they've watched grow up, someone who feels familiar, even though most will never meet him. That emotional connection is powerful, and it's being expressed in the most sincere ways during this difficult time. What remains to be seen is how this experience will reshape the monarchy going forward. Every challenge creates opportunity for change, for reflection, for evolution. The royal family has survived this long, partly because it has managed to adapt when necessary, while maintaining core elements that provide continuity. This situation may prompt conversations about work-life balance for royals, about the level of privacy they should reasonably expect, about how to protect mental health and well-being while fulfilling public duties. For now, the focus remains on supporting William and his family through whatever they're facing. The outpouring of concern and compassion from around the world demonstrates that despite our differences, despite the unique circumstances of their lives, we recognize our shared vulnerability. Everyone faces difficult times. Everyone needs support when life becomes overwhelming. Everyone deserves compassion when struggling. The prince's titles and position don't exempt him from these basic human needs, and the public response shows that people understand that. As the story continues to unfold in the coming days and weeks, the hope is that the family finds what they need to navigate this challenge. The support being offered isn't empty or performative. It's genuine care from people who, despite never having met the royals, feel connected to their story and want them to be okay. That's the remarkable thing about this moment. It has revealed the depth of feeling that exists beneath the surface of public life, the genuine affection that people hold for individuals they know only through carefully managed public appearances. The royal family will move forward, carrying the weight of lessons learned. For William, this moment reshapes what it means to lead to the understanding that caring for others begins with caring for oneself. The monarchy will keep evolving, and the world will keep watching. If this story moved you, don't just scroll past it, like, subscribe, and stay with us as we uncover the truth behind the crown. The next chapter is only just beginning.